The story of King Nebuchadnezzar. In the ancient world, there was one man whose name struck fear into the hearts of nations, a man whose empire stretched as far as the eye could see, a king who believed his glory reached the heavens themselves, yet in the end learned that all kingdoms and all men bow before the Most High. This is the story of King Nebuchadnezzar, the rise of a king. Nebuchadnezzar II was born the crown prince of Babylon, son of King Nabopolassar. The Babylonians were a rising power sweeping through Mesopotamia, taking cities and challenging the once mighty Assyrians. When the Assyrian Empire finally crumbled, Babylon rose in its place. But they had one more great rival to face: Egypt. In 605 BC, Nebuchadnezzar, still a prince, led Babylonian forces against Pharaoh Necho II at the famous Battle of Carchemish. The Egyptians and their allies were crushed from that day forward. Nebuchadnezzar's reputation as a brilliant and ruthless military commander was sealed. Soon after his father died, and Nebuchadnezzar returned to Babylon to be crowned king. And with the throne came the hunger to expand his power and his empire. The conquest of Jerusalem. Jerusalem's skyline under a burning sunset, the small kingdom of Judah lay between Babylon and Egypt, a pawn caught in the games of superpowers. Judah's kings tried to play both sides, but Nebuchadnezzar would have none of it. In 605 BC, he besieged Jerusalem for the first time. The city surrendered, and Nebuchadnezzar took treasures from the temple of God, along with young nobles to serve in his court. Among them, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, men whose faith would soon be tested. But Judah rebelled again. In 597 BC, Nebuchadnezzar returned, took King Jehoiakim prisoner, and installed Zedekiah as a puppet king. Still rebellion brewed. Finally, in 586 BC, Babylon came a third time. This time, Nebuchadnezzar had had enough. The walls of Jerusalem fell. The Temple of Solomon, the pride of Israel, was set aflame. The city lay in ruins, its people marched into exile. It was the fulfillment of the prophecies of Jeremiah, who had warned the people, "Serve the king of Babylon and live." But they did not listen. The dream of the statue. One night Nebuchadnezzar awoke, shaken by a dream. A towering statue had appeared before him, its head of gold, chest of silver, belly of bronze, legs of iron, and feet of iron, mixed with clay. Suddenly, a stone not cut by human hands struck the statue, shattering it to dust. The stone grew into a mountain, filling the whole earth. Nebuchadnezzar demanded an interpretation, but not just the meaning. He wanted someone to tell him the dream itself without him saying a word. His wise men were terrified. No man on earth can do what the king asks. But then came Daniel. The young Hebrew stood before the king and declared, "There is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. Your dream, O king, shows what will happen in days to come." Daniel explained the statue's golden head was Nebuchadnezzar himself, Babylon's glory. But after him would come another kingdom, and then another and another, until finally God's eternal kingdom would crush them all. Nebuchadnezzar, awestruck, fell on his face before Daniel, proclaiming, "Surely your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings." The fiery furnace. Years later, perhaps inspired by his dream, Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold, not just the head, but the whole body, towering 90 feet into the sky. He gathered officials from across the empire and commanded, "When you hear the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and all kind of music, fall down and worship the image I have made. Whoever does not will be thrown into a blazing furnace." The music played, everyone bowed except for three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel's friends brought before the king. They stood firm. "O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. The God we serve is able to deliver us, but even if he does not, we will not serve your gods." Furious, Nebuchadnezzar ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter. The soldiers who threw them in were killed by the flames, but inside the